This episode is sponsored by Michelob Ultra. Whether you're due for a beer run, stocking up for the big Super Bowl party, or just looking for a case to bring to that BYOB party, head over to MichelobUltra.com/Ultra Club now. You can order ice-cold Michelob Ultra and have it delivered right to you. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Shop now at MichelobUltra.com/Ultra Club. Enjoy responsibly. LDA 21 and up.
Hello, baseball fans, and welcome to another edition of A Visit to the Mound. I'm Lark Smith, along with
Stan Huff.
And today we want to talk about baseball player preparation. There's things that you need to do if you want to be a baseball player to get your bodies in shape, to get your mind in the right mindset to play the game of baseball at the ultimate level.
This is true, definitely. So basically, let's start with this. Start with diet. You got to have a solid diet, carbohydrates and proteins, and at least 3 meals a day when you're, with that kind of preparation.
Well, you don't want to go out there looking like the Bambino.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
But Babe, for sure.
And you and I have recently lost some weight. We got on a diet program that we both found out that was pretty easy to do. And if you need to lose some weight, I'm going to suggest this is the best way to get it done because it's very easy to do.
Well, definitely. I mean, you do, and if you can't do it, find yourself a dietitian, a licensed dietitian that can set it up for you.
Mm-hmm. But it's a meal that you can eat all the meat you want, all the vegetables you want, all the fruits you want, drink all the milk you want, but you got to cut out the salt, the sugar, the cheese, the pasta, the bread. You got to cut out that stuff.
Wait a minute. No, all that's carbohydrates are good at this stage of the game. They need stuff like that. But what they don't need is they don't need the snack foods.
Right.
Snack foods need to go away. That can slow your progress down. But to go to the dietitian and get some help right there.
Yeah, and one thing, Little League moms are always bringing candies and sodas, the candy bars and stuff like that. No, don't bring that. Okay, bring the Gatorade, but bring some fresh fruit, some grapes, some apples, some oranges, some watermelon. That will rehydrate the kids quicker and give them better energy than any of those stupid candy bars will do.
Well, yeah, you're great. That is definitely the candy and all that stuff is you got to minimize all that.
Sure.
Well, next thing you need is sleep. You got to get your sleep at least 8 hours a night because I tell you when you're out there doing all this physical exercise and you get tired, the sleep, it's the only way that your body can recover from all that work.
The days of Mickey and Billy and Whitey all carousing all night long and showing up at the ballpark at 4 o'clock with a hangover, those are long gone. Those guys had a unique talent, and I'm sure there's some guys in the game that have unique talent today.
Well, what kept them there is their production. So they were producing. So I'm sure had they not produced, they wouldn't have been there that long.
Yeah, but if you're a player that are trying to get there, you got to avoid those things. You got to get your sleep.
You got to get to sleep. You got physical conditioning, stretching and flexibility exercises. Your body's got to be able to perform in a competitive environment. So you need the stretching and flexibility. This has to be done every day, whether you're on the field or off the field. So you got to do that. Also, we got weightlifting. After you hit puberty, it's the best time to start doing that because you're going to need that, and it's everything you can do. I mean, you start with a lighter weight, you work it up. I mean, when you get to where that's really easy, then you add weight to it, and you do as many and as all the exercises, the weight exercises you can do right out of the chute.
But get with a weight trainer that will help you get, baseball weight training as opposed to football weight training, because football weight training is going to bulk you up. and make those muscles real tight and concise. Whereas baseball, you need to elongate those muscles. They need to be strong, but they need to be elongated. So there's a different workout program for a baseball workout and a football workout.
There's stretching and flexibility. You need all the weights you can, all of them, right now at this stage of the game. Because if you don't put stretching and flexibility in there, you're right. They'll get bulked up and not be able to do. But stretching and flexibility will help eliminate that.
I mean, Greg Luzinski looked great in his uniform, but sometimes it kind of hindered his swing.
No, not much, but maybe half. Well, you need to start with a light, manageable weightlifting program, and once you get to the point, like I said, where it's easy, you add weight to that, and you can develop your own program. But if you want to get to a trainer, that's a good idea as well. Now, the next thing is running. This is a big deal. Mm-hmm. It's essential to be the best player you can be. You gotta run, and there's two types of running. There's aerobic conditioning and anaerobic conditioning. And aerobic conditioning is distance running. Now, when you're doing distance running, what you're going to get is you're going to build endurance, and the endurance is what you need when you're out there on the field 8 hours a day. And then the anaerobic is the speed work, so you got to work on that too. Now, speed's of the essence. It used to be only the infielders and outfielders had to run. Now the catchers have to run too, and it's really they've gone full circle. Mm-hmm. Used to be a shortstop could hit 210 and play in the big leagues for 20 years. Not anymore. You got to be a good hitter too. So what you're doing is you're setting yourself up as far as all this stuff we're going to talk about to being the best player you can be. Now, all the aerobic work, all this stuff should be done daily. Mm-hmm. And that's
absolutely.
The anaerobic work too. Sprints are daily as well. And do more and more and more. The more you do of those, the better you're going to be as far as a fast runner, and your durability is going to be there too because of the aerobic work, the distance work.
I've said it 100 times, I bet, to people that a Major League Baseball player, he gets paid to play baseball, but he's really paid to make sure that his body is in shape for the game of baseball. That's his 24-hour-a-day job, is to work out, to eat right, to get the sleep, get the proper sleep and stuff like that. That's the real job of a baseball player. Well, going out and playing the game is the fun part of it. Well, but he's getting paid to keep that body in shape to be able to play that game.
Exactly. But to stay there, they got to produce.
Absolutely. And you're not going to produce if you're overweight, if you're tired, if you don't have proper diet, if you don't have the right energy, you're not going to produce. So this is what helps you produce.
Yes, exactly right. So let's see here. Well, with all the running you're doing, take a couple days off. Your body needs to recover, so you got to give it a chance. Yeah. So we don't want to be breaking anything or stretching something out that's not working. Yeah. So you run 5 days a week, and then you take 2 days off. That's a good idea.
Now, pitchers, those are the ones that need to do more of the endurance racing, correct?
I was going to get to that, but I will. You're definitely right about that because their stamina is in their legs.
Yeah, absolutely.
So basically, as they go, they need to learn the game. Okay, as you play, your experience is going to teach you where to be, where to go, where to throw the ball, and how to pitch it and how to hit it and what to do. Now, all the position players. Let me go into this part of it. Learning the game includes defensive and offensive as well. And when a player is a smart player on the field, that takes the pressure off the manager.
Oh, absolutely.
So a player can manage himself on the field. Yeah. It makes managing the game a lot more easy. A lot easier. That's for sure.
We saw that in high school. We had one player on our team that was a lot more baseball savvy than our coach.
That's fine. Defensive preparation. Okay, you want to try to learn as many positions as you can.
Absolutely.
Because you don't know the next year who you're going to be with and what they're going to need out of you and where your opportunities are going to lie. So to be able to play all positions, you're going to be a valuable asset to your team and be able to stay in the lineup possibly by doing so.
I mentioned before that I lettered 2 years in coaching first base, but I was also the 10th man, so to speak. Whenever somebody wasn't performing well at any position, the coach knew that I could handle that position because I knew everything to do with the baseball in a defensive situation at whatever position he put me at. So I was kind of the 10th guy.
Well, that's everybody should know that.
Sure.
Though. Okay, now let's go to infielders. Infielders should work on their ground balls, feeling from the ground up. They need to work on their forehand and backhand side. Now, timing and rhythm is part of this. You're learning which hop to catch the ball on and that kind of stuff. And you're also learning on how to throw the ball as you're moving towards the base that you're throwing to.
Right.
So it's a lot of that practice has to take place, and the more ground balls you can take, the better you're going to be. The more confident you're going to be as well.
Okay.
So
do you like ground balls delivered by way of a
no.
pitching machine, or do you want them always hit off a fungo?
I'd rather them hit off a fungo,
right?
Or getting in live batting practice and taking them off the bat. Working on, you're doing it. It's actually kind of a game setting when you're taking them off the bat like that, and your reaction time. You can follow an infielder can follow a guy's swing to see if he's just got a slow bat or not, and play him towards whichever way that is.
Sure.
So that's a lot of that other stuff, learning it in the experience. Now, outfielders, they should work on catching fly balls straight at them. To their right, to their left. Now, the hardest one to work on is a line drive hit right to you.
Absolutely.
And you don't know. You've got to be able to discern
very quickly.
If that thing very quickly, because if it's coming off a bat at 100 miles an hour, you don't have much time to make a decision. So if, like the way I look at it, if you got a left-handed hitter and you're playing right field and he's a pull guy, that ball's going to be curling towards the line, so your first movement should possibly be towards the line. And it's the same thing with a left fielder. If it's a right-handed hitter, that ball is going to be going towards the line. Now, it's also the same way. If a left-handed hitter is hitting the ball to left field, that ball's still going to go towards the line. So
right.
Your initial movement is possibly towards the line,
right,
on either field.
Back and toward the line.
That's something to consider right now. And it could, it's definitely, it's not etched in stone, but that's the way it happens.
Always been told it's easier to come in on the ball than it is to go back on the ball.
Well, you got to learn to go back on the ball too.
Right, but I'm talking about being able to judge it. If your first movement is back, then you readjust. You can come in quicker, then you can go back further.
It's hard to do when there's a line drive hit at you.
Oh, I know. And that's the toughest one to figure out.
Particularly if it's rising.
Yeah.
It's wow. You got. I know. I've tried to do it.
Me too.
Anyway, and they got to know which base to throw to. That's important.
You got your cutoff man out there to help you with that.
Well, you got the situation. You got to, wherever the runners are, you got to know that. And if the ball's hit to you, where are you going to go with it? That kind of deal.
Right.
All right. Next was catchers. Now this is the big deal. Catchers should work on blocking balls. You're doing something that God didn't intend for you to do.
Yeah. Sacrifice your body.
Sacrifice your body in a situation where He taught you to defend your body, to shy away from it, to that kind of thing. So now you got to go against those instincts, and that takes a lot of practice. I know I've done it, a lot of practice.
I've watched
There was a time we did a couple hundred balls a day in spring training, every day.
Yeah, right.
Well, think about it.
Yeah,
that's a lot. But you get used to it, and then you can anticipate the ball going in the dirt. You can be right there. You're always trying to turn to keep it right on top of the plate, that kind of thing. Also, the catcher is the only one facing everybody. So I look at that guy as a conductor.
Absolutely.
He is leading the show, and everybody is watching him.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing the game as much as you can is going to be beneficial to all the players on the field.
Does that be why catchers end up being managers?
It helps.
Certainly
it
does.
helps. It doesn't necessarily. That's not etched in stone either.
No,
because there've been some pitchers that were really good managers as well.
Yeah.
But for the majority of the time, a catcher is usually in on every facet of what's going on in the field.
Right.
And it's the only guy that's facing everybody. Everybody else has got their back to each other. Now pitchers. Well, wait a minute. Okay, let me back up. If a catcher is doing his job, one, he's already sized up his opponent, and there's offensively every guy on the team where their swings are, slow bat, fast bat. Are they first pitch hitters? Are they patient? Are they work the count? Those guys, and they also know who can run and who can't. They know situations like first and second, whether they're going to bunt here or they have more of a tendency to hit and run, moving the players. So those are things that catchers, and actually everybody should know that. But that's important, one, so the catcher can help the pitcher and do something against what the other team is trying to do, knowing their those kind of tendencies. Pitchers need fielding practice, and they need it as much as they can because they're not, for the most part, they're not good fielders. But if they work on it, they catch ground balls, hit back to them. You know when to cover first. A ball hit to their left, they got to get over there and cover the bag so the first baseman can throw them the ball.
Just keep doing those PFPs, pitcher fielding practice.
PFP, exactly. And the more they do, the better they're going to get. Right. So they need to do that. Now, what I want to touch on now is a daily goal setting for all players, and that includes pitchers. All right, for pitchers, here's what I need to do. They need to, when they're throwing a bullpen on the side, they need to work on hitting their spots and not velocity. They get the accuracy down, then they can use the velocity, but they have to be accurate with it. That's like a guy that can throw 100 miles an hour, but if you can't throw it over the plate, what good is he? Very strong, but we might put him in right field.
Yeah.
But then I'll probably have to pinch hit for him. Anyway, but they need to work on their accuracy first. That's the biggest part about it.
One of the biggest things you want to avoid is free bases. Base on balls, wild pitches, hit batters, and that's part of that accuracy you're talking about.
Exactly, and what we're talking about here is the focus and the priority should be first pitch strikes.
Oh, absolutely.
A first pitch strike, you throw a first pitch strike to a hitter, you gain a tactical advantage to some degree over the hitter. Now, if you're getting behind the hitter, you're setting him up to be a dominant. He's becoming more bold at the plate. The deeper in the count you go, if you're 2-0 or 3-1, they're ready to hit.
Oh yeah.
And most of the times in those situations, they're going to see a fastball.
Yeah, that's what they're looking for, and that's what they're about to.
They'll tee off on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
They will.
That's when you'll see that home run cut taken. Whether they hit it or not, you're going to see them swing as hard as they can possibly swing.
Well, they're gonna come out of their shoes.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Now, when you get ahead of the hitter, stay ahead of him. All right, so you're working on what you worked on your spot, hitting spots during the bullpen. Now you're getting ahead of the hitter. Now we got to stay ahead of him. That we're gonna get these guys out as soon as possible. Okay, you don't want to try to set up a bad hitter. Get 3 strikes in there and get him out of the way. Now all pitchers should work on ground ball outs.
Right.
The quicker the ground ball out, the longer they can stay in the game, and the sooner they can get back to the dugout.
Right.
We had a kid that I signed. Played at Fort Worth, Wade Mackey. He threw a complete game, 9-inning game with 89 pitches.
Outstanding.
And it was, this guy could throw strikes, and he could throw all his pitches over for strikes.
Yeah.
And he got 8 one pitch outs in that game.
Outstanding.
89 pitches. The
That
game
helps when the opponents are swinging at first pitches.
Well, it put them more on a defensive platform because they knew he was throwing strikes, and they were going up there like swatting at flies. They were swinging at everything because all the pitches he threw were not strikes, but he got ahead of them, and he was throwing pitches that he forced them into a situation where they had to swing to foul the ball off, and they weren't doing much.
A pitcher's pitch as opposed to a hitter's pitch.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's you get a situation like that. You get a pitcher that can throw strikes like that. That game, by the way, lasted about 2 hours.
Yeah.
About 2 hours and 5 minutes, I think.
Yeah. Without speed-up rules.
There was no speed. He was getting the ball and he was pitching. Now, if every pitcher pitched like that, we wouldn't have this stupid pitch clock. That's the dumbest thing. That's the dumbest thing. That really takes a lot of strategy out of the game.
Absolutely.
And not allowing these teams to shift. Let them shift. They could be making a big mistake if they did that.
They would be if I was betting.
Well, they were they're playing percentages. Either a guy hits the ball here 85% of the time, so we're going to put everybody there. Okay, so what? So what if he gets jammed and he dribbles the ball through the infield and gets a double out of it because we had him played so far? Well, that's their fault.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
Now, if the hitters are smart, they're going to learn to hit the ball to all fields.
Absolutely.
Okay? And that's what they should be doing anyway.
No matter if you swing at it or butt it to all fields.
Well, it really and truly, it's about swinging, okay?
Yeah.
But bunting, you're right. I got you on that. But most guys can't bunt.
I mean, if the third baseman's on the first base side of the second base bag, I'm butting down the third base line, and I'm going to be standing at second base.
That's a double.
Yeah.
That goes down as a double in the book.
Yeah.
All right, here's the other deal. You got, if a guy can work on hitting all fields, they got to play you straight up.
Right.
They don't know what you're going to do and when you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Terry Poole, remember him?
Yes, I do.
Played for the Astros.
Yes.
I played against him in the minor leagues. He was a left-handed hitter, and I never saw somebody as good as he was about hitting a line drive pass in the hole between short and third, or hitting a line drive over the third baseman's head for a double or a triple down a left field line.
Yeah.
He could do that as well as anybody ever saw, and he could turn on a ball and hit it to right field as well. So this was a pure hitter for me. He was probably one of the best hitters I ever saw. Anyway, and he was hard to pitch to because of that. Anyway, let me move on here. First pitch strikes for the pitchers. They need to focus on eliminating or taking away less hits per innings pitched, less walks per innings pitched. So if they're working on their stuff in the bullpen, hitting their spots, they're going to get that stuff done right there.
Yeah.
They need to work at a steady pace.
Yeah.
If their tempo's slow, like we just talked about, everybody goes to sleep behind them. We don't need that.
No.
I would ask them to write their goals down.
Okay.
Their daily goals. Write down what they want to do, what is going to prompt them or is going to encourage them to get out there and do their job. That way they can go back to it. If it didn't happen, then they can make adjustments, writing down adjustments, and take that forward for the next time. Okay. Now, hitting. This is for all position players. When they go to batting practice, they need to take batting practice and mentally as if they were in a ball game, and actually put guys on base mentally. So what I do now, and try to drive runners in, those ghost runners that they put mentally on the bases. That helps them prepare to compete. Okay, there's two ways of doing this. There is practice, and then there's playing. There's two different mindsets. You've heard of those old 5 o'clock hitters, right?
Right.
Okay, a 5 o'clock hitter is a guy that takes his practice swings into the game. He's not ready. He's in a competitive environment now, but he's still taking practice.
Okay.
Okay, that's when they hit 10 or 12 balls out in BP, and then they strike out 10 or 12 times.
Right.
All right, that's those kind of hitters.
Yeah.
We want to get away from that. I mean, they need to practice mentally as much as they practice physically.
Sure.
They need to work on hitting all fields, as we talked about.
Yeah. Well, normally you get like 10 pitches and an at-bat, and you like 3 or 4 rounds during BP, right? Something like that, maybe 10, 20 pitches.
Well, maybe a little league. Not
what
where we are.
What do they do at Big League?
Well, you get as much as you
BP.
can, and there's extra batting
I understand
practice.
that, but you've got 14 guys trying to hit baseballs during BP, and there's only a certain time you have there, so there's got to be a number of pitches.
45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get a lot in, particularly if the batting practice pitchers, you can throw them over the plate.
What I'm seeing at junior college and college level is, you get 10 pitches, you stand out, and another guy's in for another 10 pitches, and there are like 3 or 4 of them that are rotating out for 3 times.
Well,
like that.
yeah, they'll do that. I
Yeah.
was going to say 30 or 40 swings.
Yeah,
you're right.
And what I'm getting at
see what
is
you're talking
that,
about.
like the first 3 or 4, you try to hit it. If you're a left-hander, you try to hit him to right field. The next 3, you try to hit that center field.
Well,
the next 3 pitches, you try to hit
yes.
the right field. You work on all fields.
Yeah, that's it's definitely. And I would, as a manager, I tell them we're going to take at least one round to the opposite field.
Right.
Now, guys that are really smart will do what you just said. They'll hit the pitch where it's pitched to that field,
Right.
or try to. Now, they need to work on bunting, sacrifice bunting. This is some of the worst stuff I've seen as far as
In
that's
Major
a
League
lost
Baseball,
art.
it is a lost art.
Well, let's say you got 2 pitchers that are battling each other and not giving up much.
You got to create something.
Well, that's what they say. You got to create your runs. I mean, those are games you're going to win by 1 run, and it's usually a 2-1 or 1-0 game.
Yeah.
So you get a guy on and bunt him over and get him in a scoring position. All right.
Be it first inning or last inning.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, if you got Jacob DeGrom out there against,
it doesn't matter. You're trying to get the run across because you're probably only going to get 1 or 2 runs for the whole game.
right.
So, the conventional wisdom was you squeeze to win a ball game, right? We squeeze to get a run in
Sure.
to win the ball game. It doesn't matter if it's in the 3rd inning or the 5th inning or the last inning.
Right.
So you use that to your advantage. That's another tactical advantage. If you got a guy that can bunt, now that needs to be worked on. Mickey Mantle, bunting left-handed, could drag a bunt and be on first base in 3.1 seconds.
Yeah.
That's because he was moving when he bunted the ball, and he was fast anyway.
Commerce Comet.
That's right. So use these advantages. There's that speed again. Speed wins, and that's the Yankees. They've won 28 World Series and
Something
about
like
35 chances or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, there's something to that.
Yeah.
And bunting has something to do with it as well, although in a minor way. Okay, so in batting practice, a hitter should be working on line drives and hard ground balls, all right? No pop-ups. He's popping the ball up. We need to make an adjustment. My gosh, let's go. Get on top of the ball here.
Hayes, every time you pop one up, you got to give me 20 push-ups.
No, I don't go. That's kind of radical. You focus. You're setting a daily goal that's attainable. Your focus should be on hard, consistent contact only, because once you're doing that, your chances of getting a hit are greater. Now, over the course of the season, they need to look at how many at-bats they might have and set a goal for a batting average, a daily batting average, RBIs, all that. See if if hard contact's coming around, you're going to get a lot of that. Now, if every hitter would write these goals down and follow them, the chance of them becoming better is enhanced in a big way. So, pretty much that's about all I got right there for that one.
That's the Stan Huff primer on baseball player preparation.
Preparation, yes. Say that fast. Baseball player preparation.
Yeah. Okay. That is our time for this episode of A Visit to the Mound. We do thank you for listening. If you have any questions or comments, anything you would like for us to cover, we would love to hear from you. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at A Visit to the Mound, or visit us online at avisittothemound.com. Make sure you like, subscribe, and review our podcast, and be listening the next time we make a visit to the Mound. That'll wrap up this visit to the Mound. We certainly appreciate you joining us today for a little baseball talk. Anytime you want to hear something about baseball, you can find us anywhere you get your podcast, or you can go to roguemedianetwork.com for the next edition of A Visit to the Mound.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.